follow this ball all the way through. Boy, we saw one of that in last week. Cameron has a shot. It's raining big moments. Umpire suggests that he goes. He does. Gets within 52 metres out. Levi Ashcroft sends a bomb. They've kicked 4 of the last 5 goals. A rare touch for him. Ashcroft got it to Bruce. Out the back. Cameron looking to get over the top. It's marked.
Off to Neil. From 50. Lockie Neil. 3 in a row, Brisbane. Blitzarves has had a huge final series. He gets clobbered in a tackle by Rayner. Advantage paid. Here's Neil again. Off to Ashcroft. No way. What is going on? Right, man. Smith. And there we go again. Rayner, brilliant.
The Brisbane Lions will win back-to-back AFL premierships. Amazing scenes.
The Brisbane Lions fancast is back for another week as we celebrate a week of being back-to-back premiers. As we currently record it Sunday night, the Broncos have just scored their second try, courtesy of Reece Walsh, and they are trying to bridge the gap here with the Storm in their respective grand finals. So by the time everyone hears this, the results will be one and done, so don't even worry about it too much. We're going to have a look back on the season that was, talk about the good bits, the bad bits, of course, a chat about Chris Fagan, who we completely neglected to mention last week in our grand final celebrations. There's been a few list changes both on and off the field, so we'll have a chat about those as well and answer a couple of questions and look forward to what's going on in 2026. Pat, a week after the AFL grand final where we've gone back to back, how's things feeling? How many times have you watched it?
I haven't watched it again, but I listened to the SEN radio at some point, just while I was doing something else, because you can it gets to the point where you can sort of see it in your own head. I was watching Lord of the Rings today, and I wasn't really paying any attention, but I could see the film in my mind's eye without having to really pay too much attention. So a little bit like that. So if you're being compared to Lord of the Rings, good job, Brisbane Lions. So yes, I haven't watched it again. It is funny how, I know trade week and all of that stuff, you know that I hate it.
Yes.
I just don't have any time for it. It is amazing how football and the actual discourse of the season just completely, it's gone. It happens and it's gone in like 2 days. There's just... Oh God, the cat nearly fell off. There's just not really too much happening. You're sort of like, who can I hear or who can I listen to talk about this? And you get stuck with like Adam Simpson, who's good. And his co-host suggesting that Kate McCarthy was cheering too much in the commentary box for Triple M. And it's like, shut up, dude. Like, have you not listened to every other commentary box ever? Or yourself? I don't know who it was. But anyway, bit of a tangent. This cat is obviously aware that they got belted in the grand final and now it's being a pain. So, yeah. It's been a fine week, and Geelong is a dour place when the Cats lose, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, it is a bit strange. Like, after the game, you get one episode of 360, one episode of On the Couch. We've got an agenda setters, but that was basically just trade talk. And
it was pretty horrible, wasn't it?
And everyone just like goes off on leave, which, I get it. And for a long time, trade period and how we're going to improve the list is all we had to look forward to. But I just want to bask. I want to consume it all and find out what everyone else thinks about this great team of ours. But I guess it's going to be up to us largely to do that. So we'll have a couple more podcasts left for the year, and then we'll set sail for a couple of months as well, and come back to you in 2026 where we look to go the three-peat again, 20 plus years after the first one.
Going early, are you? No, I went early last week, didn't I?
It is hard to sort of fathom. You look back since the AFL in 2000, and now Brisbane sit atop the tree of, premierships won since then, and since 2020 we've won the most games by quite a bit, and by all those metrics we are the most successful club. And it just doesn't, I guess it doesn't feel like that, because obviously there was one very big peak at the very start of the millennium, and then a big old trough, and now we're peaking again, and who knows how long that's all going to last. But hopefully at least for another year or two, which would be great. 7 years, as we know, is in finals and prelims and grand finals and premierships is they're hard to come by, so we need to make the most of it while we're here. And I remember saying to you, probably during 2024, during this season there, is like my biggest fear, and I'm sure the biggest fear of a lot of Lions fans, is that we are going to waste this opportunity that we've got with this list and, being competitive for such a long time and walk away with it, with nothing from it. So now that we've got two flags to frank, everything that's been going on over the last 7 years, it really does feel a bit surreal. And, a lot of people in the media are sort of throwing around the word dynasty. It's like, is this a dynasty team? Is 2 enough? Back-to-back 3 grand finals? Do you need 3? All that sort of stuff. So at least that conversation's being had.
Yeah, it's sort of, to me, there's a kind of unquantifiable element to it, because going back-to-back is really difficult, obviously. There's not many teams that have done it. Like so Adelaide did it in the 90s, under a different format, different sort of game, I guess, so fair play. We did it. Geelong never did it.
Nope.
Hawthorn did it, and then Richmond eventually did it, but failed at the first attempt of doing it. So, and then you look at some of the really quite highly regarded teams like Essendon in 2000. They weren't able to do it, and people call them underachievers, and people still talk about that team, but it sort of fell apart when they didn't do it. So my sort of thought is, who cares if you're a dynasty team or you're not? Who cares? Just play what's in front of you, and go with it from there. But I think, our fear was that we wouldn't win a flag with this group, and it would become a bit like the St Kilda team or that. But I'd even look at it and I said, because Port Adelaide were a really good team when we won the three-peat, and obviously they won one in 2004, but they only won one, and I personally think that was still underachieving for what they had at that time. So no one can really call us underachievers. We've kind of, it's not like a Melbourne situation where people a few years ago were saying, oh, they could go on and win a whole bunch. It's like, well, at least we went on and won another one. So that shows, and to sort of come to Chris Fagan, for everything that is sort of said about him as a player manager, and the whole tactics on one hand and the relationship or whatever on the other hand is sort of a bit, it's the eternal debate that I think doesn't exist, because surely we can put it to bed now that the team system is good. The team system is so good, in fact, that you can have 1 million of the premiership players from last year not in the team and still make a grand final and still win. It must be a good system.
You have 3 teenagers and 8 under the age of 22. So, yes.
I don't want to hear any rhetoric about him not being a good tactics coach or not, it's bullshit. It's just factually incorrect at this point in time. You can have Murray Davis leave the club. Oh, cool. Well, we'll just win another premiership. Oh, cool. Well, we'll have all these injuries year and then the next year. But it's still McRae and Scott have better systems and he's just good at... It's no. His system is actually the best system because all of the players know what to do. Whether it's 19-year-old Gallup coming in to play key forward. It does my head in. And I can't understand the disrespect to Chris Fagan. And I'm so glad that he's won 3... Coach of the Years, voted by his peers, and Chris Scott has won none. Because if you want to talk about maximizing your list, it was a perfect opportunity for Chris Scott to be able to do that in this grand final, and he failed. None of his younger players really performed. His role players did fuck all, and his superstars didn't do anything. Like that's as where's Sam Newman, who called Sydney pathetic. Should he not be calling Geelong pathetic with what they dished up in the second half of that, or the last quarter? I know that's a bit harsh and a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still, where are you, Sam Newman?
Look, no, I think that talk will disappear. It has to. Much like the talk of us, all the talk about us at the MCG was there for such a long time, and there was the mentally fragile, that chat was around, and all that stuff just disappears because you just prove them wrong, and you win games that you shouldn't. You win games that you should. You suffer a big loss, then you come back and you bounce back, and then you remind everyone that actually no, we are still the premiers, and any chat about anything to do with Chris Fagan and his ability to coach and lead people, like, it just has to disappear now because he's got 2 bloody premierships to go back on. So I think, like, even
I don't think he'll lose sleep at night at the moment. But what I will say is, having watched Unfiltered, weeks ago, I do hope the people near him are keeping an eye on him.
Yes,
he didn't have a great time after last year, and I don't know why. Things are things, but I hope he is being looked after by the people around him and the players of the team, maybe.
Yes, well, if some of the footage that's appearing from some of the players, they've been enjoying their last week, that's for sure. I think Lachie Neale has been absolutely tearing himself a new one since going back to back. So good for them. I know a couple of the boys are now overseas since the BNF night. I know a couple of them even had midnight flights booked after the BNF, so they were like gone as soon as they possibly could. So they're off enjoying it, and they'll be back for November, December to start again. So that's it's something to look forward to. But there's already been a few list changes, as we fully expected. Starcevic and Archie out, and they will be Starcevic, although he's a free agent, looks like that'll get done via trade with that compensation pick that the AFL handed West Coast, so that looks like that's going to be the case there. Archie will have to be traded to Adelaide, and I guess we'll have to figure out, we won't have to figure out, they're going to figure out what is going to be an appropriate deal there.
So Archie is a trade, not a
he's
not
trade.
a free agent. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Of course, Stewie Dew is headed to Port Adelaide, which was sort of flagged throughout the year. Sam Day's retired. Styx Ryan and Darcy Craven delisted at this stage, and obviously the news today that probably isn't a massive shock that Oscar McInerney has decided he's retiring as well, which is it's obviously heartbreaking, but I think we all sort of saw it coming and knew it was a genuine possibility, and the fact that he can walk away as a genuine premiership player now, and I say that even though we all consider him to be a genuine premiership player anyway, is really fitting, and we all love that for Big O.
Yeah, I mean, that was not the most surprising of news, but it's still, functionally pretty sad. You're like,
yeah,
we like that guy.
We love him.
So, yeah, and I think there's probably a high chance he sticks around at some level with the club, although we did say that about Daniel Rich a couple of years ago, so maybe not.
Yeah, hopefully.
He had been doing a bit with the AFLW, I believe, ruck coaching.
Yes.
So, but yeah, Stewie Dew's he's probably a pretty big one, and fair play to him if he wants to go down to Port Adelaide and spend time with his old mate. In my opinion, I mean, I like the idea of a Stewie Dew redemption in the Queensland of it all. I thought that would have been a really funny story, particularly if Fagan had won some flags, handed the keys over to him, and he won a flag before Hardwick with Gold Coast. I thought would have been like poetic justice at its highest. But you're always going to get rated. So, and it is a weird situation because it's sort of the first time in a while we've actually had good players be taken from the club. I know Dan McStay was taken, but that hasn't gone well.
No, I
and to
guess
have
not.
two genuine best 22 players leave the club is, it kind of sucks, but it's got to be, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think obviously them leaving as, you know, 2-time premiership players makes the bitter pill easier to swallow, and they both gave their all on grand final day and throughout that final series, so they did absolutely everything that you could hope for and ask for from those guys. So they do sort of go with your blessing to a degree. It's not, you know, it's not like McStay, who sort of left when we were on the cusp, and you're sort of like, if you just, you know, 23 could have been different if we had him in the forward line. Who knows? You don't know. So it's fine. You know, Link McCarthy comes back into this team potentially as well, and will play an Archie type role. Noah Answorth will come back into that team and play a Starcevic type role as well. So, you know, we've got cover in the list as it is. And obviously the other news that Sam Draper is officially signed on with us as well as a free agent. So he comes into the team as well. And I think he should be right for a full preseason after that Achilles, because I think he did it really early on, like round 2. So, yeah.
I thought it was. I've heard mid-April for a return date. So
yeah, I wouldn't have thought it was going to be that late, but who knows?
Because I believe Achilles are full years, just about.
I thought it was a 9 months type job, but yeah, I mean, what do I know?
Also, what do I know? So, I mean, it will be curious to see when he returns, but at the same time, probably could just look it up. I don't know. So. Yeah, we have got a few that will be on the way back. Obviously, Eric's got quite a long recovery ahead of him, which, you know, is it the sort of thing where you just, dependent on how things are going, you proceed with caution with him and give him the opportunity, because he's had a pretty rotten spell.
Yeah.
Really since he did his first ACL.
Yeah, and then obviously
he hasn't really had good full preseason go at it, and that sucks, because you would want him to, because I think he deserves it. And another one worth noting, I think Dev Rob requested a trade to West Coast, which, I mean, you know, it's not really a surprise in the slightest.
Not even a little bit. and I genuinely hope that we see him play week in, week out for the Eagles, because he's he stands to be the next. I mean, yeah, he's a good AFL player that just, you know, victim of circumstance, hasn't been able to get a run with it with us, and yeah, he could be the next Ben Keys type operator and play some really good footy for another club. So I do hope we see that, and he gets a good crack at it.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, Jackson Pryor, he's played a lot of games since he moved here.
He finished top 10 in Essendon's BNF by virtue of literally just being there. It was just
default, surely. Like, you played all the games so that Essendon. Did you see Brad Scott was in a sling?
I know, that's crazy.
Well? How funny. Like, you can't make this up.
It completely typifies what Essendon's going through at the moment. So, yeah, those are the list changes as it stands at this point. By the time people are listening to this, there's every chance that Oscar Allen, that news has come through as well. I would have thought that was going to be pretty early on, so that's going to happen at some point. So he'll come into the fold, and I guess it just, with everything going on with Eric Hipwood, it puts us in a position where we don't have to rush him and his recovery, which is good. Providing Oscar Allen stays fit, and providing Logan Morris and Ty Gallup stay fit, and all that sort of stuff as well, and Darcy Gardner as well. So, Jack Payne is another one that is obviously looking to come back into that team as well. We'll probably miss the start of the season, so probably midway through 2026, we might see him.
Yeah, the patella's not good. So after the bye.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Well, I did sort of, we got a few questions which we'll get onto later, but with some of the long-termers, given our recent history of long-termers, maybe tempering our expectations of them is probably a good way to go. So it's not to say we're not going to do a back-to-back-to-back. Still think we're, you're never closer to a triple premiership than after you've gone back to back. So,
wise words, famous words.
Hey, it worked last year.
It did. It did. All right, let's have a look back on season 2025 and just a couple of the games that stood out to you, best and worst. A couple of the good wins, a couple of the,
Well, I don't really
disappointing
feel
losses.
like doing worst.
Okay, well, I'll fill that hole for you if you like.
Because it's just, I mean, the worst ones, I'm like, well, why does it matter? I quite enjoyed us beating Geelong at Cardinia.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest,
That's a standout.
It's like every really bad performance was just, cool, we're just going to win the next week in like a backs to the wall situation. So the kind of there was not really a prolonged time of, oh no, this sucks. Except maybe that the draw followed by the Melbourne loss, which was a pain in the ass. But
yeah, that was bad, and Adelaide into GWS was pretty grim as well. Just the nature of those losses. Yeah, just there to be won, both of those games. So those were pretty upsetting at the time.
But I loved the second half smashing of the Western Bulldogs. That was a lot of fun. Probably some of the most fun football, I think.
Yeah,
in terms
was
of
good.
Watching, it was just it was Globetrotters nonsense. I mean, Hawthorn was great. Seeing Noah absolutely blanket. Watson was good, and yeah, Geelong Cardinia was awesome, and obviously beating the Pies at MCG was also good. Doing that twice is pretty fantastic. So. A lot of good performances when they needed to be, and that was something I think we talked about throughout the season. I was very steadfast, and I think the team can just like pull their finger out when they choose to, and they chose to, and they won the premiership. So good for them.
Freo in Perth was pretty good as well. Off the back of that Sydney loss, that was a huge win.
Yeah, I know, but it's Jared Berry got hurt, so that makes it an A- at best for me.
Still. Yeah, those are probably the big ones. In terms of players, who probably impressed you the most or surprised you?
It's a good question. Probably, I think Logan Morris really stepped up in a way that we hoped, but it sort of exceeded expectation. I must admit, I can't say Jasper Fletcher because I expected him to be this good. And we'll go back to, if you want to go back and listen to the preseason stuff, there were a lot of people that had Jasper Fletcher on the fringes of the team.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys are out of your mind. He's been given Voss's number. This guy he will play forever. Like he will never be dropped. He's too good. And he had that whole weird, like, I'm going to have one beer and then start my preseason in bloody September 31st last year. So, and it showed. So Logan for me, and I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that I can think of. I mean, Wilmot was obviously awesome.
Yeah. He stepped right up.
And Fort, I think, like, in terms of rucking a whole season, Fort did exceptionally well.
Yep.
Even though he's like, I don't know, probably still younger than me, but he doesn't look it. Does he?
No, he doesn't. Probably the other one, and it is, I guess, I mean, he's already an A-grader heading into this season, but, I mean, Hugh McCluggage's ability to lift into what he became as well, mixing the inside and the outside work, and All-Australian year, finally. Genuinely surprised he didn't win the BNF, but in the same breath, like, absolutely stoked for the bloke that did win it. And we'll have a chat about the awards a little bit later on in the show as well. But yeah, those three are probably the most. Yeah, so Logan Morris, the biggest step up, Jazzy Fletcher as well, and then Hugh. I'm surprised that Levi did play every game and fit in seamlessly, just about. Never did anything terribly amazing, but was pretty consistent across the season. And he saved some of his best footy for the finals as well, especially that first half against Geelong. I thought he was really good.
He had definitely some really good moments in the season. I think it'll go down as a really sneaky, underrated first year. If you probably look at it statistically for someone playing on the wing, and then to see him, I sort of waxed lyrical about it a bit last week about how he sort of was just able to continue. Like players normally drop off, they need a rest. It's sort of, you can tell it's the back end of their season, and you go, oh well, they need a rest. They're young, but the dude just kept going. And
there was a couple of games there where you think to yourself, "Oh, how's he gonna finish this season off?" But
they never really they weren't grouped together, and I think it was learning how to play certain roles within the team as well, because there was a period of maybe a game and a half where when he got the ball into the back pocket after a kick out, and you're like, oh no, it's going to be one of them Louis Taylor kicks. It's going to go up in the air. But I think he'll only get better, and his tank has always been, I think, something that people have been quite impressed with, more so than Will. So that will be one to watch next year, and I think he's got a lot of dog in him, which is good, more so than Will. He's like the villain brother.
Yeah. Did you get the chance to go back and obviously he kicked one of the great grand final goals, but did you see that ball drop yet?
I did, but it doesn't look
gross.
that bad.
It's pretty gross.
It was perfect for what it needed to be.
I mean, it went through the goal hole, so who cares, I guess. But yeah, every time I watch it, I still think, how has that gone through? How is that not just munged off the side of your boot?
Yeah, but also think about how many times in like weird games where we've been playing like, I don't know, idiots, and they've like just mongrel punt the ball to a guy next to another guy and you're like, he didn't even mean to do that. So he meant to do it. He just somehow got away with it. So I don't want to hear any more about this ball drop.
Okay, all
right,
it
was perfect.
It certainly was. Look, and a big shout out to one of the members of the Discord, and I can't get it up now because otherwise it'll completely fudge the video here, but that Lace Out account on Twitter that did all the alternative commentaries via the different radio stations. Someone who listens to our show has gone to the effort to compile them all and put them in a Dropbox, which has been absolutely fantastic. So a big shout out to you, and also
Josh Mofo.
There you go, Josh, you absolute legend, you.
A legend, but also if you could get the prelim, that'd be good too. Even if it's the last quarter, I would quite enjoy that.
It looks like that guy that is responsible for syncing all the commentary. He went dark since July, and he only came back just to do the grand final, thankfully. And Jenny Letts as well. Big shout out to you for shooting us some money through our tip jar, and you can always do that at our website, Facebook, or social media pages, all that sort of stuff. BrisbaneLionsFancast.com.au. So lovely. Thank you to everyone that's gotten on board in one way or the other across the year.
One thing I still find is, I've been in Victoria for 7 years now, or whatever. Still can't get around. I like it, but daylight savings really screws me up. It's 1 hour, and I'm just like, what?
Yep.
I'm sitting there just faffing about, and you're like, oh shit, it's 8 o'clock. I don't understand how 1 hour can be that detrimental to life.
Yeah, it'll do a number on you.
Yeah. Did it always do a number on you when you were growing up, or were you kind of?
You did get used to it. Yeah, you get used to it.
I think after 7 years you get used to it, but is it just my brain is smooth or something and can't conceptualize time?
How long did you, speaking of your smooth brain, how long did you keep the cornrows for? Because they're gone now.
About 2 hours after the podcast last week.
Really? Wow, that's a lot of effort for a very temporary situation.
Well, I wasn't going to, I told you it was pretty awkward going to the petrol station. It wasn't. You're getting weird looks and stuff. So, yeah, it is what it is. I'll ask, Jonathan Brown got 3 lines shaved in his head.
Yeah.
And I thought that got way more fanfare than what I did. And what I did probably took significantly more effort, and Jonathan Brown will just shave his head and look the same in about 2 weeks' time.
Well, by the time he was at the BNF, he'd shaved it. So, yeah, he was fine.
He that's his haircut. You know,
yes,
his haircut is shaved head. So, although that said, I suppose you could argue that mine looked the same after. It did actually. So, for anyone wondering, when they were taken out, it really was like Reville's hair when he has it in the pony and it's all frizzy. It was really like that. It was quite amusing. Yeah, I was like, oh, the pony, the Bratz pony. It's all frizzy. So, you know, an experience to be had, one that I will not be having again.
Fair enough. All right, looking at the lineup for next year, I know we've had a couple of questions in the Discord about this one from our friend Josh. If everyone is healthy, who misses best 22 in the forward line when everyone is fully fit? Draper, Allen, Hipwood, Gallup, Morris. Likewise, who misses in the back six out of Payne, Lester, Gardner, Duday, and Answorth? So do
you want me to do what I think my round one team would be?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to do the best one?
Let's start with the round one team and then go for the best team from there.
So round one, I have... There's going to be one thing you don't like about this. It's going to be funny. We have no sub anymore. So
that's right.
On the bench, which I have had some insane conversations with people regarding the sub and them just not able to understand. It was all on the back of the Chris Scott being annoyed about the sub and Geelong people not really understanding, like, I guess how it works. Because, you know, if there was no sub and there was just a floating interchange, it would have actually benefited us because we had Marshall doing nothing on the bench. Anyway, neither here nor there. The back line, we've got Lester, Harris Andrews, Gardner, Wilmot, Shadow Brain, and Kadeen Coleman.
Right. Okay.
Then in the centres, we got Bailey, Neal, Berry, and then Fort, Dunkley, and McCluggage. Forward line, Rayner, Charlie Cameron, McCarthy, Gallup, Allen, Morris. And then on the interchange, I've got Fletcher, Ashcroft, Lohman, Zorko for round one. And so the ones that I've gone injured, not there, Answorth, Payne, Hipwood, Draper. And the extras, which are people that I think probably could feature in the team but haven't in mine, I've got Reville, Marshall, Annabelle, Duday, and Henry Smith.
Yeah, okay.
Thoughts?
It seems fair. It seems about right if, you know, what you're saying in terms of the, you know, who's available and who's not. It makes sense. I think Draper might be available.
He'll just be in for Fort.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But
yeah.
The best team with everyone involved, like I've got a piece of paper here, look at that.
Yeah.
It's got lines and all sorts of stuff going on. The best I've got Lester, Harris, Jack Payne, Wilmot, Answorth, Coleman, then Bailey, Neal, Berry, Draper, Dunkley, McCluggage, and then in the forward line I've got Charlie with a question mark, Rayner, Link McCarthy, Eric, Allen, and Morris. So no Gallup.
No Gallup, right.
And then on the interchange I've got Fletcher, Ashcroft, Lohman, and then Zorko / Marshall.
Okay, yeah. Once again, quick to get rid of Dane Zorko again for another year.
Okay, I think Coleman is a better player. I think, yeah, hopefully with the preseason, Coleman will.
Oh man, I think we can all just sit there and hope that we're going to get some sort of footy out of Kadeen Coleman in 2026. Hey,
have you Guav put up that video of all of Cam Rayner's goals? It went for like an hour and 15 minutes or what. I started watching it at about 12:20 at night, so it was a long one for me. And it had a couple of Kadeen Coleman. Just, he is such a good kick. It's so nice to watch. I want to watch that guy play football because it is really nice. Zorko is like angular and abrasive and it is good, but Coleman is like, you like lean back. That's how good it is. You lean back and it's just like, oh, look at that.
I do
Whereas
remember,
you're like, yeah.
you know, the one game he played this year and his first kick, and you just like, oh, God, can't believe we've been living our lives without this for the last 18 months.
I actually think that the removal of the sub rule probably works not in Dane Zorko's favour, which is a little bit unfortunate because you don't know where the team is going to be or where they're going to need run. But he is a absolute nutbag, so good for him. But yeah, that's what I have as my best 22 with everyone fit, and he's still in there. It's just a bit of a, well, do you want a bit more run or do you want to, you know, you've got like the youngest dude and the oldest dude, so yeah, that's a fair.
No, it makes sense. And then, you know, it's just a question of the bodies holding up, especially in that forward line. You know, obviously Draper's got his injury history. Oscar Allen definitely has his injury history, and as we know, Eric Hipwood. So, you know, there's every chance that all three of those are going to miss time across 2026, and luckily we've got a fella named Ty Gallup sitting there waiting as well, and Henry Smith.
Yeah. And I think hopefully with the plethora of players at our disposal, we'll be able to kind of change. And, you know, I think we'll probably get used to, we'll hopefully get used to the idea of players being omitted and it not being they were dropped. It just being like, oh, they're rested. It's just a bit of rotation, you know. Sometimes it's going to be Henry Smith. Sometimes it might be whatever. Just get him in there playing some football. Rotate him around, keep him fresh. So that they don't have to like play with like 3 shoulders that don't work and stuff like that.
The Shadow Brain is, I guess, a bit of an interesting one because obviously he didn't feature for us at all this year, which I guess was a bit of a surprise considering that backline did have its fair share of injuries across the year, and he played obviously a handful of games last year, including, did he play a final? Maybe not.
No, he played that 1 point loss to Collingwood and then was not cited again.
That's right. Yeah, we got Answorth and it was gravy from there. But yeah, you've got him in the lineup for round 1, which, you know, everyone's got a pre-season to make their case and put their name forward. So I'm guessing he's going to be wanting to do that.
You could also make a case for Duday to be there and then Lester to kind of play the Starcevic role, because I think Lester's actually Starcevic is obviously very unique, you know, playing taller or smaller and being good on the ground, being strong in the contest. Like, Lester does tick all those boxes. He's just, like, getting old as well. And I think Brain is sort of, as much as anyone, a defender first player. So, you never know. We'll wait and see. That's just what my initial hunch is. But I said a couple of years ago, I thought Harry Sharp would have a good season, and I don't think he played. So, what do I know?
That's right. What do you know? And did he? No, I don't know if he got delisted by the Ds. I know Tom Fullerton did, so we'll see.
Well, poor Tom Fullerton.
There's a bit going on at Melbourne at the moment.
I thought he was going to be the next Grundy at some point in time. When we had Fullerton and Archie Smith, I was like, oh yeah, it's going to be like having, I don't know, Grundy and Gawn together, and then we saw Grundy and Gawn together and it's horrible, so maybe we're glad that didn't happen. I don't know. Tell us about the BNF, dude.
The BNF, great night, and as you know, most people would probably know at the moment who's walked away the winner. Josh Dunkley has won his first Merit Murray medal ahead of Hugh McCluggage, which is fantastic stuff. He also won the Trademark Player of the Year and the Players Player of the Year. So he has had a big year, Josh Dunkley. He made the AA squad, won the AFL's Most Courageous Player, played a grand final with a grade 3 syndesmosis, and has walked away with a handful of awards. So he's done very, very well there. Levi Rookie of the Year, which was a bit of a no-brainer, I suppose. Most Professional, Hugh McCluggage. Finals Player of the Year, Harris Andrews, makes sense. And the Yui Game Changer Award, sponsor award, was Zach Bailey, or if you are the fella that made the announcement, Bailey Smith, for some reason. Greg Swan and Eric Hipwood life memberships, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know how you can make that kind of cock up, but there you go. I suppose Yeah, Bailey Smith does do that to people, including himself and those around him, because he is making his football club look a bit foolish at the moment, and good for him.
There's a bit going on with him and Caro.
Did you read Caro's article in The Age?
I read most, half of it, maybe. Good
I
portion
thought
of
it
it.
was pretty reasonable, personally.
Yeah. I don't know what he did. Like, I don't know what the thing is that she's actually referring to. Like, I didn't see the post that she's... but
it was funny because it does sort of beg the question about certain narratives, because it was like widely accepted that what's his face, the other guy that dressed up as her,
Holmes.
Yeah, Holmes. That Holmes got her permission, and she's like, "No, you didn't." So, pretty funny that. What has the back and forth? Has there been any clapback from Smith, or has he gone AWOL? I think he's gone AWOL.
I think he's just sort of disappeared into the night.
Yeah. Well, there'll be no more Mad Mondays for Geelong. An age-old tradition, and it took one guy to ruin it. So, good for him, I suppose. Really making it. It's going to be so funny when he gets injured or has a bit of a form slump. That's what I'm curious about. But
I guess he's falling back on the fact that he's actually performed pretty well, and
not in that grand final.
No, but he wasn't alone there.
True, but also he puts himself on a pedestal, so you can't just, when you do that and portray yourself like that, you then cannot be like, oh well, I'm just part of the team, because he portrays himself as bigger than the team. So if you don't perform, you got to cop it more than most, and he does, and somehow,
gets away with it.
He's probably whatever. Good for him.
Let's have a chat about the girls, because they are on a bit of a winning streak at the moment. After a pretty tough start to the year, they've won their last few, found themselves 5th on the ladder, so in with a shot with 4 rounds to go, which is absolutely fantastic. Smacked the Gold Coast yesterday at People's First Stadium. Courtney Hodder was just unstoppable. 4 goals, 8 tackles, back to her best. Belle Dawes back to her best as well. Jade Allinger is putting together a hell of a season, as is Talia Hickey and Sophie Conway. I mean, the usual suspects, really, when you think about it. But a winnable game against Port Adelaide coming up next week as well. So, hopefully they can peak at the right time this year.
Yeah, I think they were they struggling to win at home, and then they did that thing where we won the premiership, and then they were just like, yeah, well, we're just gonna turn it on.
Yep.
Is that sort of the way the season's gone?
Basically, yeah.
No, it's all right. Can't really argue with that, can you?
No, not at all.
Where do you see them sort of heading in the remainder of the season?
I think if they can make a prelim, that'd be pretty good. Obviously North Melbourne is just unstoppable. Hawthorn is going to be up there again this year as well. So I think it'll be a North Melbourne Hawthorn grand final if I'm putting money on it at this point. Melbourne's thereabouts, but so is Carlton. West Coast is overperforming at this stage, I would say. And Sydney could be there as well. They're just sort of, I don't know, losing a couple of key matches that they probably shouldn't. So, yeah, Kangaroos and Hawthorn, the standout.
Beautiful.
But no one's stopping North Melbourne. They're just invincible.
What is it that makes them distinctly different?
I mean, their list is fantastic. They've got no holes. They've got arguably the best player in Jazzy Gardner in that list as well. And then they've got a couple of some of their Irish recruits, Vicky Wall and that other girl I've completely forgotten the name of. They just can't miss. They got Randall up there, Talia Randall up there as a good key forward. And they're just a complete team. They're really strong in the air, and their running power is just unbelievable.
Because if I take my mind back to the grand final last year, it just seemed like their defensive structure and system was so well drilled. Whereas I think the Lions at the time were trying to sort of rely quite a lot on the individuality of it all. rather than it being like a settled sort of system. But I could be wrong this year, but they just seemed very stringent in defense.
Yeah.
So, we'll see how that pans out, I suppose.
Definitely. In terms of off-season, there's obviously lots of big names floating around. Charlie Curnow is probably the biggest one of those. Petrarca, Oliver. Again, their names are being thrown around this time a little bit more seriously. Petrarca has said he wants to go to the Gold Coast Suns, apparently.
Bailey Humphries also.
Bailey Humphries' name is being thrown up, which is...
If I was Gold Coast, I would not want to lose that guy, I tell you what.
No, definitely. No, I'd want to hold on to him. If it meant losing Petrarca, probably, yeah.
I'd take Humphrey over Petrarca, to be honest.
It's hard because you're going on potential, and it's sort of like the Suns looking to win a flag here and now. Maybe.
Yeah, but you're
maybe
also going on
head's
potential with Petrarca too,
Yeah.
because he hasn't reached anywhere near where he was before the injury, and it's sort of a goodwill thing. And I think they don't want for much in the midfield, in my opinion.
No.
So I think the Humphreys, they play basically the same way, I guess. So, but I think Humphrey probably should be cheaper and established. I don't know. I'd take Humphrey. What would you take?
Yeah, I think I'd probably lock away Humphrey if I could.
And Curnow, so it's really funny because watching that 360 episode last Monday where they were sort of talking about the trade and merit and all of that, and Jared Waitley, the little weasel that he is, he basically said to every trade, he should stay and give it a go, until it got to Curnow, and it's like, nah, he should seek a fresh start at Geelong, and it's like, bro, shut up. Like you've quite clearly got your little happy hat on there. It's like, clearly Petrarca needs to leave Melbourne, and clearly Zach Merritt does not want to be at Essendon.
Oh man, that whole situation's a nightmare.
Essendon in general.
When Essendon in general, but everything going on with Zach Merritt, that is yucky.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Brad Scott as much as anything. That's the only feeling I have about Essendon, is that I feel bad for Brad, but he seems nicer than Chris. He seems more genuine. But yeah, you know me, trade can I don't love it, but that's fine. I understand people also like it, and I keep reasonably abreast with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing that's sort of keeping us tied to the men's season of the AFL at the moment, and it's worth a lot of money to those.
I'm just in it for the memes and the funny comments as much as anything. So
there'll be plenty of those.
There are lots of them. There are a lot of them, and arguing with people about the sub rule and the father sons and the academies and all of this sort of stuff. So I did have an interesting thing to say about the academies and stuff, and I still think that people in Victoria just don't quite understand the difference between junior development in Queensland versus junior development down here, where you can go to school, albeit a good one, down here, and you'll have Matthew Lloyd and Scott Pendlebury, teaching you skills. Whereas the way that I put it, up in Brisbane, you get Tom's dad because he was free on weekends. And that's true. The reality of it. Or you just get the token one guy that is from the one dad from Victoria or South Australia that is the coach de facto.
Yeah.
You don't actually get, highly skilled individuals teaching kids what it's like to actually play football. So, I mean, that will go on and on and on. But another thing is, you don't have to look far. You can go back to the 2016 draft and guess how many players were drafted out of Queensland in that draft?
Jeez, I don't know. Probably...
There were 77 players drafted. How many were from Queensland?
2.
Double that, 4.
Sure.
So it just goes to show that even as long as, as near as 10 years ago, sweet fuck all coming from Queensland. I think one of them was Eric Hipwood, so... Ben Keys as well, maybe. So
Nice.
good for, I think. But I think people really have the blinders on, and probably similarly we have the blinders on because we're the most successful club of the century. So how good does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and I guess I can put myself in the shoes of, people that go for other teams, and it would be frustrating to sort of watch. It was, like when the Bulldogs got Jamari Ugle-Hagan, and they got Tom Boyd as well in the right time as well, and you're just sort of like, God damn, who's going to stop these guys? I mean, obviously it didn't last and whatnot.
Themselves?
Yes. But
no, I mean, it takes a long time to do that, and I think, I mean, if the Victorians want to set up their own academies, then they have to basically just eliminate the playing of AFL from the school system. That's the way you can do it, and that's just not going to happen, because I went to the under 14s schools carnival down in Geelong last year, and because it's not really played in schools in Queensland, it is, but it's not really.
Only a couple.
And I mean, Victoria and South Australia walked it. Like they were belting every team because they're the actual best teams, whereas you have to go to the club teams and then go to districts and go to Met North or Met West or whatever that shit. And that's where you will get like representative teams. It's the same caliber. It's a different thing. So I don't know. There's more to it. There's more to it that I don't understand. But I just think that there's a dichotomy, because I think that the northern state people don't understand the traditionalistness of the Victorian and South Australian, and even to a degree West Australia, but I've never been there, so I don't care. You can just keep going as far as I'm concerned. There's that. So there's the northern ones not understanding the traditions of the game, and the ones from Victoria and South Australia not understanding how like cooked it is up there.
Yep.
And it's kind of, the arguments are almost the same, but in opposite. It's quite hilarious. So I'm liable to get yelled at by both because I come across as a know-it-all. So even though I truly know nothing, so beautiful. Is there anything else, or are we kind of done?
Well, I mean, just to throw this out there, and once again, people know the results by now, but the Broncos have just hit the front with some more Reece Walsh magic, 24-22. So that's exciting news. City of Brisbane's about to go off if this happens, but plenty for you left.
How many minutes to go?
22 minutes left at this point, so there's still plenty.
Bloody high-scoring affair.
It is a high-scoring game.
I'm not a league follower myself.
There is clearly a house near me watching the game as well, because they're going off their heads.
So what are you going to do? I know you follow quite close to the AFLW, but do you do anything in the off season? Other sports. Oh yeah,
I switch into cricket mode big time, especially Test.
I think because the Ashes being this year, I think I might have to get more involved.
Yeah, worth it.
I did actually watch a Howie Games clip of him talking to Jason Gillespie about his double ton in Bangladesh.
Yeah,
which was quite fun. And the way he tells the story is putrid. Like,
oh yeah,
it's so full of shit. So yeah, that might be one. And so cricket. When does cricket kind of kick off? I know that's the worst thing to say. When does the cricket kick off? When do they pull stumps?
Early to mid November. First
Gotcha.
Test will be at the not the Wacker. God, over in Perth this year.
The Wacker.
Well, there you go. 21st of November is the first Ashes Test over in Perth, and then it's at the Gabba after that, I believe.
Cool. I'm obviously watching my round ball nonsense, which is that game's pretty laborious to watch, I gotta say. It's almost like too tactical, which can make it a little bit frustrating. But also, I'll be following Oscar Piastri's assault at the World Championship in the Grand Prix, which that will be driving around Singapore soon. So
Nice.
hopefully he had an absolute nightmare last race around. It's like a guy that like literally never makes mistakes, and he just like put it in the wall. Qualifying, put it in the wall. That one, he's like, dude, just chill out. You'll be fine. Stop Zach Baileying this bad boy. Just like kick it straight. So I don't think we've seen a Australian Grand Prix world champion since the 80s, maybe. Jack Brabham?
Sure.
Is there another one? I don't know.
There's no way I know. Motorsport, not
Don't you
for me.
don't you do a sports radio show?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I have to care about motorsport.
Yeah, but there's only like 20 guys that do this sport, and one of them's Australian. Like, it's obviously pretty hard to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. It just does absolutely nothing for me.
Have you watched Drive to Survive?
I knew you were going to ask me that. No, I haven't.
No, fair enough. It's just like documentaries are the back door into anything. So,
I understand that, and I have heard nothing but good things from a lot of people. But watching cars go round and round is not my thing.
To me, I think if you've watched the season and then you watch the documentary, it's a bit like, and I think we'll probably see this with the Lions one. They'll twist the narrative, and it'll be like, oh, but that's not really what happened. What are you talking about? So,
well, yeah, it'll be whatever makes good TV.
What, rock and roll car crash TV where shit's going down all the time.
And I think the Amazon crew got, or whoever it was responsible for it, they got kicked out before our finals run. So I don't think
I thought that they got kicked out before the Suns game.
Yeah,
where maybe they didn't say they were going to be there, or they didn't like announce themselves, and which I think is pretty good because it would paint us as the villains, and then we win. So sucked in. Yeah.
Oh well, I guess we'll see.
So cricket for you, association football, and cars driving in circles for me.
Lovely.
Anything else? Are there any other sports?
There's plenty.
It's like a Winter Olympics or something. I want something really like out of left field. Because I'm
sure we've got to find something.
Were we doing this like when the Olympics were on? Was it last year? Did I tell you how I got really into the archery?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Because it was like, it was, as far as spectator sports go, it was fucking awesome. It's so good. All right, I'm going to end on that because I can't be like, I'm into archery. Never fired a bow. I mean, probably not since like grade 7 camp or something like that.
That's the
time
they
got us to like shoot a bow. Fortunately, not at anything good, like a kangaroo or something, but it's probably a milk carton.
All right. Well, whatever you're into over the off season, let us know. And should we come back next week? Wrap things up after trade and draft and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I can do a 102nd episode.
Yeah, sounds good.
Boost the numbers. It's like a sub appearance.